Welcome to another episode of the Courtside podcast. I'm your host, Fui, with our co-host, Mr. Besu Customs.
What's up, y'all?
All right, today we have a very interesting episode. It's the best time of the year for Courtside basketball because it is time for playoff basketball. At Courtside basketball, playoff basketball is win or go home. Everybody starts 0-0. What you did in the regular season does not matter. The intensity picks up to an unbelievable height in the playoffs. Always tons and tons of memorable moments, and just the energy in the gym is different in playoffs.
Yeah, this place gets electric. I love the energy in this building. Everybody packs the house. And my favorite part about the playoffs is these number 1, number 2 seeds. They get upset by these 6, 7, 8 seeds because these divisions are stacked and anything could happen, bro. Somebody goes down early. Somebody has an off night. And one of these lower seeds is definitely going to bring it to you because maybe you beat them in the regular season and this is their second chance to come back and get you. So I'm excited, bro. Some great matchups.
Correct. And then, obviously we don't have in the playoffs, it just goes by seeding. So we're not making these matchups, right? It just depends on who got the seed, whether it's the 6-team division or 8-team division. But as I'm creating these brackets and as the regular season's finishing, I see a lot of intriguing matchups, man, in every division, from C-League to Rec to Hoopers. Just like the stars align, and there's some matchups that people have been requesting. There's some rematches. I think these playoffs are going to be one of the best playoffs that we've had in our 14 seasons. And I'm going to start with Rec East, okay? So Rec East is a really tough division. The 1 seed is Team Hustle. Team Hustle's had an amazing season. They've only lost a game, led by Matthew Marena, one of the youngest teams in all of Courtside, right? So they have kids that are in their prime. They mix in some OGs, but a lot of these kids come from the travel basketball program Thunder. Shout out to Rob Castillo. So these are a lot of kids that played in that Thunder program. They graduated 2-3 years ago, and now they're coming to run together at Courtside. And they've been dominating, and really why they dominate is because they bring a high level of intensity. Not only do they have the skill, but they guard and they pressure you. And if you're not ready for it, it will wear you down. They're going to play the winner of either Team PR, which is OGs that they know how to win here. They've won a ton of championships, and Injury Hub.
Is that the one with Suarez and Miller?
Correct. They got Suarez, they got Miller, they got the high flyer Jay, they got John.
Yeah.
Tough team. And then the 2 seed there is TFB, led by Murder Mo, okay, and SETI and all that. That's a super tough team. TFB will play the winner of Ambush and 87 Stingray. 87 Stingrays has Monty Anderson, which is one of the best guards, in Rec, and you got Ambush. That's a tough division. And these divisions are made before the season, so it's not necessarily something where we know how good these teams are going to be. It ended up being that Rec East is probably our toughest Rec division. Now, the question is, Hustle's never won a championship here. A core group of those guys have played together for a little bit of time. Do you think they're real contenders, or would you say they're pretenders as you look at how tough that division is?
You can't be a pretender if you're number 1 in the league, in the division. So they're definitely proven. They smacked the Generals by 30. The Generals are led by Nesto and Sparv. So these kids are not jokes. They're not pretenders. They're here to ball. Now, the thing is, have they ever won a playoff game?
I'm not sure if they've won a playoff game. I know they haven't advanced far. They definitely have not made serious noise. So that's the only red flag. As we talk about Team Hustle within the league and within the committee, they're a team that's made a ton of noise, super exciting to watch, and they for sure have ballers. Matthew Marena is one of the best players in the league, and he's a dog. Young kid, not the strongest, right? He's skinny, but he's just aggressive, super skilled. He doesn't back down from no one. And then they have Alex Kettle,
the little pest.
Yeah, pest. Defensively, one of the best defensive guards in the league and can score as well. Everybody there plays with energy and they can shoot.
Yeah, I think they're definitely contenders. I'm going to go with the more veteran teams like TFB. They got 5-6 championships. Injury Hub, Sam has a bunch. Suarez has a bunch. And I don't think they have a matchup down low to go against Nico, the big lefty for TFB, or Suarez down low? I know that they're guards, they're they're little pests, they play deep, but do they have somebody down low that's gonna be that person in the paint that's really gonna put them into the next round?
As you look at that division, you got Injury Hub with the Bully brothers.
Yeah.
And they got Jay and Sam. Everybody there has size and strength.
Exactly.
And Team PR, you got with Carlos and Kenneth. And all those guys are older guys that have strength and play hard, super physical. And then you look at TFB, 87, and even Ambush. Like, where I think Hustle could struggle is with the physicality in that division, because a lot of the OGs in that division not only could play, but you could tell they got 10 years on these guys of just strength, guys that spend time in the weight room.
And it's playoff basketball, bro, so they're going to play extra hard. They're going to be physical. I don't know. I've never seen these kids play these physical lineups. Let's see. Hopefully,
I think what's going to be interesting with them is they have to impose their will in terms of style of play, right? If they make the game a half-court game with these teams, they're going to get bullied down low. They're going to get killed on the glass. The advantage that Hustle has is that they have unlimited stamina.
Yep.
These kids are 21 years old and in shape, and kids that play on a regular basis and play hard and played high school at a high level. I think they have to make it a race. It's got to be an up and down type game.
So who do you got coming out of the East?
Man, I'm gonna go with TFB.
Yeah,
I think TFB, with Nico and Seti and then Murder Mo controlling the pace. I think their team is well constructed. I think now players are starting to buy into the role. And I think that Nico's a solid big man that not only has size and strength, but could score down low and plays with intensity. I think they could lock up on the defensive end. I've seen them down in games and they could come back. They got the star power, the firepower to be able to score in bunches. So I'm going to go with TFB, but if you tell me another team's going to win that division, I mean, I can't argue with that because it's a toss-up.
Yeah, I got Injury Hub versus TFB. I think TFB is going to come out of there also, man. I think they're too well-rounded, and Nico is a little bit too big for Injury Hub. They don't have an answer for him. Suarez is 5'9", 5'10".
Well, they have Jay Goody from
and he jumps high, but he's not tall.
Right.
Like, Nico's going to score over these guys. So I think that's going to be the matchup for the championship, the Final Four. And I got Murder Mo winning that one.
Can't go wrong with that. I mean, that's going to be interesting. That's the division I'm most excited about. As we head over to Rec West, we got at the number 1 seed, Buckets and Brotherhood, led by Ray Taylor and B Trigger. They're going to play the winner of the 4 and the 5 seed, which is Lunatics and Matter. Well, they play tonight. So in tonight's game, we're recording this on Friday, May 24th. So we'll see. That's going to be an interesting game. Because, Lunatics has Max at the guard position, and they got Dogs, and then they got Elton Walker. So, but then Matter Elite, their problem is the availability. I know a lot of these guys, work full-time jobs, and they're a little bit up north. So let's see how many guys they bring, but that's going to be a tough game as well. And then you got Bandemic with the bye, and they'll play the winner of Rusty Buckets 2.0 and Akatsuki. That's another division that's stacked because Rusty Buckets 2.0 has a guard play with Cortez, with Kev.
Little Alex is good too.
Little Alex and Kovas is also really good at the forward position. Akatsuki, you got a
Billy
zombie and
Billy the Kid. No, it's good matchups. What I like most about the playoffs are the matchups. You might be young, you might have the guards, but these guys got the bigs. Like it's a style up.
Right.
Like,
who's going to impose their will,
exactly.
right? Like, who's going to really dictate what type of game is going to be played?
Yeah, man.
That's going to be the question. Buckets and Brotherhood's a little bit weak at their at their big man position. They got a couple solid bigs, but they're a guard-heavy team.
Yeah.
They also got a lot of guys that they rotate. Like, they're not always playing their 4 or 5 best guys, you know?
Sometimes that's a problem. When you're too deep, you're taking away your best players to put in some bench players. And for me, this is me. In playoffs, bro, you got to play the best players. This isn't about playing time. This isn't about, you need to get some minutes. This is about winning. Because if you put in the wrong lineup for 5-6 minutes, you could go on a big time. The other team could go on a run, and that could cost you a lead, or that's it. You're done.
Look, I mean, with Ray Taylor especially, we know he has the ability to take over a game, right? He's 5'5", 5'6", but one of the best players in the league in terms of being able to get to the basket, lightning quick, or shoot threes. It depends what Ray Taylor shows up. We've seen Ray Taylor, that's the best guard in the Rec Division, and then we've seen him, struggle at times. B Trigger obviously has the strength and power with the explosiveness. Not only does he hit threes, but he could get to the basket at will. I don't think that team has the chemistry yet to be able to beat a team like Lunatics or Matter. I got Lunatics advancing. I think Elton Walker is going to be the X factor. Dominant on the defensive end, rebounding, could score. That dude's tough, man. And then I think if Lunatics beats Matter, I mean, that's going to be an interesting game with Buckets and Brotherhood. But on the other side of the division, you can't sleep on Pandemic. They're the 2 seed for a reason. They're a team similar to Hustle that has the youth, and they could play at a speed that a lot of guys can't keep up with. Super athletic, ton of possessions, and like you said, it's what team is really going to impose their will and style of play. Who do you have in that division?
I got a sleeper team. I understand Brian and I understand Ray Taylor really good, but I've seen them play a few times. Like we said, the playing time, but they also complain a lot, bro. Like, they're not that team that's just going to fight through and they're just going to, whatever comes, they're better than that, So sometimes that affects the team. And my sleeper team here, I got Rusty 2.0, Rusty Buckets. I've seen Kevin. I've seen, what's the big dude's name with the Havana Club? Govas?
Govas, yeah.
Govas is really good. So they got the size. He's big. He's also very athletic. Jason is really good. So they have a lot of scoring. They got some youth, and they like to play defense, bro. So don't sleep on Rusty Buckets. I think they're going to come out of this division.
They also have Chris Garrido, which is a solid OG guard as well.
OG guard, very good player.
If I have to pick somebody in that division, I'm going to go with a little bit of a sleeper team, I guess you could call them, because they're not like in terms of the most popular team that they're always talked about. But I'm going to go with Pandemic. I think Pandemic, the addition of the big that they added, and I'll look up his name here. I want to be able to give him a shout out because he's a rim protector. He finishes, high flyer, plays with a ton of energy. Ricardo Sams.
Let me see.
Ricardo Sams. This dude blocks shots above the rim, put back dunks, flies around the court. You got Josh Rowland. You got their captain, Julian. Alan Luis is another big that has a high motor. Just players with a ton of high motor, all energy type players. Nobody really slows them down. But yeah, I think a big thing in these playoffs are, and we see in Courtside, because it's an adult basketball league, obviously nobody here is getting paid. You got the teams that compete, that are full of dogs, that they don't care if they're playing at a park or they're playing at Courtside or they're playing in the NBA Finals. They want to win. And then you got the guys and the teams that show up that are too cool, that are not going to compete to the end, that are not mentally tough, that are going to quit if calls aren't going their way. They may be down 10 with 2 minutes and they start giving up. You see guys go to the bench, take off their shoes, get their bag, and leave. So you got to look, and like you said, you look at talent, but you also got to look at teams that really care about winning and care about their legacy at Courtside. And like you said, Rusty Buckets has proven winners. Buckets and Brotherhood have shown at times that they don't really care. They're not going to go all out to get the W. And yeah, I think that's a good point. That's a good.
They're a team that can crumble if calls don't go their way. And right now, you can't be falling apart and crumbling. You got to really, who's the leader on that team? I've never seen one guy step up, bring them together, tell them to stop crying, and just play through anything, So, I mean, the teams that are tougher, that are, the strong mindset, those are the ones that advance, bro. It's not time to cry. It's time to really ball,
I agree 100%. And then as we look at Rec North, number 1 seed Miracle Leaf, which you are a key piece to that team. You guys will play the 4 and the 5 seed, the winner of that game between TNB and Takeover. That's another division that's super tough. You got Skyforce coming in at the number 2 seed, and they'll play the winners of Smooth Tattoos and Generals. I don't think there's one team in that division that's weak. There's not one. Miracle Leaf, led by Eddie Buckets. They got Dre. They got you. They got, solid pieces all over. TNB with Eastman and Jesus and Jared
They beat us.
Galloway. Super tough team. You got Takeover with Mello and with Trey, and tough team. Smooth Tattoos led by Jeff Vargas and Grayson. Then you got General, Sparv, Nesto, and then Skyforce, John Michael, Ali, KG.
The classic.
That's a tough division, Sure. Who would you rather play, TMB or Takeover?
The competitor in me would like to run it back with TMB.
Right.
We were shorthanded that game. I don't think we had Taj.
Yeah.
Our guy down low. He gets a lot of rebounds.
And I think Dre got hurt that game.
Dre got hurt early. So, no, he didn't even play.
No, Dre did play, was killing in the first half.
He had 30 in the first half.
Yeah, and then in the second half towards the beginning.
So the competitor in me would want to run it back. But I think the better matchup would be Takeover because TMB is huge, bro. They got Gabe, they got Jared, and we're not the biggest team. So I think matchup-wise, Takeover would be better. Competitive-wise, I would want to run it back and get that L back from these guys. But both teams are good, man. Melo is a great scorer. He's one of these young guys that has unlimited energy. And Trey is a proven champion. That guy has rings with Havana a good time. No, East Havana. Sorry, East Havana.
A ton of rings and playoff experience.
Very good defender. And, I mean, man, both teams, it's going to be a tough one. So whoever wins that plays us, and then we go to the conference.
On Takeover, they got Steve Swish, big dude, solid. And then they also got Jason Futej. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but Jason is their big guy. He's about 6'3".
And he's good. I saw him.
Good, and he's got skill.
Good player.
Solid player. But I agree. TNB. I think I predict them to win that game. Man, one of the highlighted games of the playoffs, one of the most highly anticipated matchups of any division, has to be Smooth Tattoos versus Generals. Like, that game is going to be electric. You got Jeff Vargas, you got Nesto. That's a hell of a matchup.
Oh.
You got Gerson, you got Sparv. You know that game's going to be packed. You know that these guys know each other, have played with each other, and there's going to be a lot of smack talk going on before the game and, during, and it's going to be intense. It's going to be a fun game. Those guys have a ton of respect for each other. But, man, that game is going to be must-see TV. Who do you have winning that game?
It's going to be standing room only. You know that these guys, they don't even fit in the gym. They bring out the whole entire neighborhood. Who else is on Smooth Tattoos? They got Gerson. They have a big guy, I believe, right?
Yeah, they got their big guy, their captain, and I'll pull up the names here because I want to make sure I'm getting these names.
I've seen them. I saw them play.
Right, Joshua Acosta is a solid big. Yeah, you saw him play against Buckets and Brotherhood.
Yeah,
and then they got Lorenzo Machado.
Yeah, but he told me that he's out for a few weeks. He had something done to his knee. I don't know if he's going to be back.
Okay.
But they got Lou the shooter. Bro, it's a good matchup, man.
Yeah.
Again, remember what I said. This is not the time to complain. This is not the time to crumble. The Generals always cry about calls, especially Nesto. Nothing against the guy. The guy's an amazing player. But I've seen him play. When he's focused, he's not talking to the refs. The guy's amazing. He doesn't get a call or two, which is going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to miss calls. He just breaks down, and then he'll take a possession off on defense. He'll try to get it back.
Another thing to look at is the arguing between each other.
Exactly.
As a team, they start fighting. And what these teams have to understand that have the tendency to do that is that it's a long game. Not only is it a long game, but on the smaller court, there's a ton of possessions. Yeah. You could be down 20 with 10 minutes left. There's a lot of time left in the game. And like you said, they start to crumble, and then they beat themselves. Can Generals keep their composure? That's an excellent point that you brought up. If they can, if Nesto could keep his composure, the rest of the team will follow, and they could beat Smooth Tattoos. If they don't, you can't mess around with a player like Jeff Vargas.
No. I've seen Jeff. I mean, I didn't know what to expect when he went against Ray Taylor. He shut me up. He won that matchup. And that guy is obviously a champion. He's going to do what he's going to do. But the supporting cast, does he have enough to beat the Generals? The Sparv is one of the best players in the entire league. The big guy Lau is one of my favorites. Big lefty, plays physical down low. But I don't think either team is very deep. They have two really good players, both sides. The third and fourth and fifth players, this game, I'm calling it, is going to be the role player game. Whoever has the role players that step up and really make these big plays they're going to win this game, because you know what the stars are going to do. Sparva's going to get his 20, maybe 30, so is Nesto, but who's going to do the other work? Somebody's got to hit these open jumpers.
That's a great point.
Play some defense.
Top heavy, but not the deepest of
Jeff is going to have to get 40. I mean, but we need somebody to, help him out. I know Gerson's a good player, but we need the big guy. We need Lou to knock
Joshua Acosta will be a sleeper in that game, although it's a good matchup with the Generals big. That's
the role players. That game is role players for me.
So in Rec North, I'm gonna go with Skyforce to win it all. And I have a ton of respect for Miracle Leaf. I think you guys' lack of size is gonna be the determining factor of you guys getting eliminated. I like T&B. I think they're a very complete team. I think they're gonna beat Takeover. I got Smooth Tattoos beating Generals, and I think Skyforce, which their core group were champions last season with Blue Chips. When you look at KG, Ali, John Michael, and then they have solid role players. This is a team that's won it before. They got shooting. KG has emerged as a star in this league. Ali with size. My prediction will be Skyforce, but again, you can make an argument for pretty much any team to win that division.
That's a great pick. I mean, these guys are multiple-time champions. They have the role players. They got the big three, John Michael, KG, and Ali, but then they got Frank. They got the other skinny guy that flies and gets all the rebounds. They got a good team, so that's a great one. I would love to see them in the divisional finals. Hopefully, we make it there, and that'll be a good matchup.
And the last Rec Division, Rec South. To me, as I look at it, to me, it's one of the weakest divisions, probably the weakest Rec division. At the top, you got at 3-3. The number 1 seed was Minutemen. Now, these teams did play a tough schedule in the regular season. In the regular season, you could play out of your division. So a lot of these teams are battle-tested, but you got Minutemen at 1, Blue Chips, which is my team, at 2, or a team that I play for. But Blue Chips is a 2 seed. Minutemen will play the winner of the 4 and 5, which is 3%, and Backyard Ballers. Blue Chips will play the winner of 3 and 6, which is No Limits, and the winner of the play-in game, which will be Lee Roofing and Up-Tempo. Lee Roofing and Up-Tempo are in the play-in. They've had disappointing seasons. When you look at Lee Roofing, you got Slim and Chris Mejia, which are 2 of the best guards in all the league. You add Angel Borges and then Hendrick and Ray, guys that have played at the top division. We expected them to be a team that's 5-1. I think they're 1 and 5. Up-Tempo is another team that's battle-tested, that has the personnel and players and Bronson and these guys to be able to, Eric Mendia, we expected them to be at the top of the division. They'll play No Limit, the winner of that game. As we know, No Limit is a super physical team. You guys played them, and they're tough and they're deep. Interesting division. Who do you got coming out of there?
I think you guys have a great team, Blue Chips. You, Carter, Pat has been destroying lately. He's amazing. But I think you guys are missing depth, right? Because you and Pat are going to do your job. You're going to drop a lot of points. Carter does his role. But is Chico, is Josh, are these guys going to step up, and are they available? Because sometimes they don't show up. And, I mean, my pick coming out of that division, I played these guys. These guys are animals, bro. No Limit is tough, bro. They got Juan, the strong guy down low. They got the coach with the plays with the do-rag that headbutts the ball. He's great. And Joan's really good too. And Ink Dini,
don't forget about him.
Awesome, bro. That guy was going at it with Eddie Buckets.
And Duran as well, the OG.
The OG.
Yeah, plays good
bro.
Down low.
Great post player, great
team.
patience. And most importantly, they play physical and they're deep. They got 4 or 5 good players. And these guys they could scare anybody in that division.
Listen, I think if we have Camilo, obviously that's another guy that's 6'5", skilled, super high IQ. I think that's going to add to our depth and gives us a chance. But I think that's spot on with No Limit. I think No Limit is a tough team. And Minutemen's a 1 seed for a reason. You never know what Chris Losada could do, and he could carry a team. So that's going to be interesting as well. My pick is going to be Blue Chips. You got No Limit. These are Rec predictions. Super excited for Rec playoffs. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Courtside Podcast.
Peace.